So she was very happy, was she? No, she wasn't very happy at all. I mean, she'd been happy, but she wasn't happy at the time, and that was sort of the thing that I wanted. I wanted her to understand that, I was there for her, but she didn't seem to think that I was of any help. I don't know why. The Crimes, a Smithco fiction show, season 3, episode 2, interviews with the friends. So obviously we had this we began this conversation in the previous episode, but this we just split it in two. So so what exactly did you think of her? What did you think her mindset was at the time? Well, as I have said, she was very at the time, she was sad, but mostly because, she'd just left a relationship, and, obviously she'd broken up, and so she'd been very sad now, and I'd met her, 2 weeks before, and she'd been very, very sad, anyway, next thing I began to I just began to feel, that I felt it in my heart, that she had sadness, Yeah, so, she didn't tell you. Well, no, she did, yes, she did tell me about the breakup, well, I mean, she didn't actually tell me in so many words. She told me she'd broken up with him. Okay. So she'd broken up with him. So she'd just broken up. She just left a relationship, and she'd also lost her job. Yes. But as I've said, she was she wasn't the happiest, but, well, she could look at the bright side, and that was the thing. So, who do you think would know her best? Well, I think I would know her best. You say how often did you see her? Just wondering. Well, I generally see her around maybe every month or so. Well, no, we'd begun to see a little bit more of each other because she had more time on her hands. She just, as I said, she just lost her job, so, she had a little bit more time on her hands. So, she could do more visiting. So usually it would be about maybe 2 months we'd see each other around every 2 months. And, but that day she invited me over, and we had a little chat, and she seemed to be very, very sad. Yeah. I mean, her other friend, Lily, was over there. She goes over there all the time, comfort zone, has the chats, I mean, I don't have time to do that. She's a bit of a time waster, if you know what I mean. I mean, she's always over there. She was always over there. So, would you advise to go to Lucy's? No, I don't really think Lucy knows that much. Lucy isn't the kind of person who you'd go to if you wanted information on her. I'm really the person you would go to. I mean, I just found that, she was very sad at the moment. But even though she says that we shouldn't go to Lucy, we thought it prudent that we should. That's why we tracked her down and found her, and this is the interview we held with her. So, you met with her, you were a friend of hers? Well, yes, I was a friend of hers. At the end of the day, I wouldn't say I was her best friend, but, I guess I'd say I was, one of her friends one of her best friends. So, what did you think of, Sarah Williams? Well, now I didn't really think much of Sarah, to be honest, because she seemed to sort of like to prey on her. How do you mean? Well, you see, a lot of the time, what would happen is she used to have a very good job, but unfortunately, it was a job, but there was automation came in, because you see the business was a very successful local business, but it was bought out by a large company, and they decided to invest in it by I think it was, they invested 3 million into it to pay for machinery. So you see, unfortunately, her jobs was one of the things that they decided to cut, because along with the cuts they made due to automation, they also decided to bring in someone else who would manage it from one of their head offices. Apparently, that would bring down productivity, but it would also bring down costs. And the costs were all right. The productivity that went down would be all okay in relation to the costs that would also come with it. So she was relatively wealthy. Well, no, I wouldn't say she was relatively wealthy. I mean, she was wealthy enough, but it was more of a general wealth. So, she was never really in debt, because, if she wanted to get something, she'd save for it, and, within a couple of months, she'd have the money for it. So she never really spent a lot of money. Of course, what that meant was, there was a fairly big mortgage on her home that she wasn't going to be paying out massive amounts of money, so she wanted that thing. So I wouldn't say that if you looked at a bank balance that would be very high, but what she did was she did live within her means. She would have I guess you'd say she'd have a lot of money. She'd have maybe a few grand in her account, but then she had what you might call, she'd spend the money she'd make, and obviously if she needed to save, she would. Yes, so you say she was spending over, Sarah was spending over. Well, yes, oftentimes if Sarah wanted something, she'd ask her to see if she could help her out, and then, it was very, I felt kind of annoyed by that, because I felt that it was wrong, Why should she, sponge over her like that? Yes, so we were talking with her, and she was saying how she was very sad. Well, no, I mean, she wasn't really, because she adapted herself to a lot of things. So, she'd been fired before. It wasn't like her first time she was fired. So, she was ready to take on the world, as you might put it. What I'm saying is that there were things there by people would be. She was very optimistic, so she was ready to start her own business as making food. Yes, we heard that, and she put a good spin on it. Well, yeah, I think yes, it did. Yes, she was excited for that, and she'd after coming out of a relationship. No, she'd come out of a relationship around maybe a month or two before. Around a month or two before. I think it was actually, no, I think it was 3 months before that. So 3 months, 3 months before she'd passed away. Or was it 4 months? It may have been 4 months. Sorry. Yes, I think it was 4 months before she passed away. She came out of a relationship. Okay, and so she was still sad after that length of time. No, not really. She'd come into a new one. Sorry, she'd what? She'd come into a new relationship. Oh, she had. Oh, really? Yes. I thought you knew that. No, we didn't. Oh, she didn't. Okay, well, yes, she did. That's very interesting. Is that good information? You didn't know that? No, we didn't. So we'll be looking at them in the next episode. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Crimes, a Smithco fiction show. It's a show that's presented like true crime, but it's not true crime. It's fiction crime, I guess you would say, on true crime, but it's presented in that area like that. So if you're wondering if this is a true crime, it's not a true crime. You can look at season 2 and 1 of The Crimes, and and enjoy them away. You can also look at other videos, educational, entertainment, all sorts of things available on the YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please tune in next time, or just look at it next time if you want to, when we'll be looking at more things.